I died choking on my own blood in the back of a yellow cab, the driver's panic screams fading into the screech of tires as my father's voice echoed in my head. Pay up, Selena, or we're all done. The bullet I'd put in my mouth was meant for him, but irony's a bitch. It ricocheted through my skull instead, courtesy of the cheap gun he'd pawned off on me like yesterday's trash. And just like that, the world went black. My last thought of venomous whisper. If I get another shot, you won't see me coming. But hell has a sense of humor. I woke up gasping in my old queen-sized bed in that cramped Brooklyn walk-up, the sheets tangled around me like funeral shrouds, the alarm clock blinking 7:14 a.m. on a Tuesday in 2018, 7 years before the cab, before the debt swallowed us whole. My hands flew to my face, smooth and unscarred, no exit wound, no grave dirt under my nails. I'd clawed my way back, a ghost in my 25-year-old skin, heart pounding with the fury of the forgotten. This time, I wouldn't beg. This time, I'd bury them alive. The air smelled like stale coffee and regret, the kind that clings to yellowed wallpaper in a 2-bedroom apartment that's seen better days. Mom had died giving birth to my sister, Lila, leaving Dad to raise us on a mechanic's wage and a gambler's itch. He wasn't always a monster, just a man who bet on the wrong horses literally and figuratively. By the time Lila hit her teens, she was his golden girl, all wide-eyed innocence and designer dreams funded by my overtime at the coffee shop. I was the reliable one, the fixer, the fool who covered the overdrafts and the loans from shady uncles who smelled like cheap cologne and cheaper lies. That morning, as sunlight sliced through the blinds like accusatory fingers, I stared at the ceiling cracks mapping out my old life. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. Lila, texting about some party in the village. Sis, can you spot me $50 for Ubers? Dad's being a drag. I laughed, a hollow bark that scraped my throat. $50. It always started small, didn't it? By 2025, it was $500,000 in markers from bookies who'd graduated to loan sharks with brass knuckles and bad attitudes. Dad's business opportunities, horse tracks in Jersey, underground poker dens in Queens, had bled us dry. And when the collectors came knocking, fists first, it was me they dragged into the alley, me who signed the papers that chained us to a lifetime of indentured servitude. I swung my legs over the bed, feet hitting the cold linoleum. The mirror across the room showed a stranger. Dark hair in a messy ponytail, hazel eyes still shadowed from graveyard shifts, but alive. Really alive. My fingers traced the faint scar on my wrist from that time Lila borrowed my bracelet to pawn for party favors. Nothing compared to the noose of debt that would tighten later. No, this Selena was done playing martyr. I grabbed my laptop from under the bed, the one I'd scrimped for during community college, and opened a browser. First search: how to vanish in NYC without a trace. Results flooded in: burner phones, fake IDs from sketchy printers in Chinatown, buses to nowhere that left no paper trail. By noon, I'd packed a duffel, jeans, hoodies, the emergency cash envelope I'd hidden in the cereal box. $2, $300, every penny from tips I'd never told Dad about. A note on the fridge. Gone to clear my head. Love, Selena. Vague enough to buy time, pointed enough to sting. I slipped out the back door, the fire escape groaning under my sneakers, and melted into the subway rush. At Penn Station, I bought a one-way ticket to Philly with cash, eyes scanning for familiar faces. Paranoia? Maybe. But in my last life, trust had been a luxury I couldn't afford. Philly was a pit stop, a gray blur of cheesesteaks and hostels where no one asked questions. I dyed my hair black in a McDonald's bathroom, traded my old SIM for a prepaid from a bodega clerk who didn't blink. Nights blurred into job hunts, waitressing at a dive bar called the Rusty Anchor, where the owner paid under the table and the patrons tipped in whiskey shots. I learned fast: blend in, listen more than you talk, and always have an exit. Mornings were for the library, poring over real estate blogs and stock apps. Dad's mistakes had taught me one thing: money was power, and power was survival. 3 months in, I had a roommate gig in a Fishtown row house, sharing with a tattoo artist named Jax who moonlighted as a hacker. You got that runaway vibe, he'd said on Craigslist, eyeing my duffel.
Cool.
Just don't bring drama. Jax became my unlikely ally, teaching me the dark web's underbelly. Encrypted emails, offshore accounts, crypto wallets that ghosts could fund. We weren't friends, not really, just two strays trading skills. He inked a phoenix on my shoulder one rainy afternoon. The needles buzz a metronome to my plotting. Rising from ashes, he'd grinned. I hadn't told him about the ashes yet. Back in Brooklyn, the texts piled up like unpaid bills. Dad. Where are you, kid? Lila's worried. Lila. Sis, this isn't funny. Dad's flipping out. Then the voicemails. Dad's voice cracking with that fake concern masking rage. Selena, whatever's eating you, come home. We need you. Need me. The word twisted like a knife. In my first go-round, I'd crawled back after 6 weeks, guilt gnawing at my resolve, only to find the fridge empty and Lila's closet bursting with tags still on. I'd taken the second job at the call center, then the night shifts at the warehouse, funneling every check into their black hole. This time, radio silence. I blocked the numbers, vanished deeper. By spring, I'd scraped together $10,000, tips, side gigs, dog-sitting for Fishtown yuppies, flipping thrift finds on eBay. Jax helped me set up a shell LLC in Delaware, Selena Voss Enterprises, for consulting. Consulting what? Revenge, mostly. I started small, anonymous tips to the IRS about Dad's unreported side income from the shop. Nothing big, just enough to trigger an audit that would tie him up in red tape for months. Summer hit like a fever dream. Philly's humidity clung to my skin as I rode the L to temp agencies, landing gigs in data entry that let me snoop corporate ledgers. That's how I found a mid-level accounting firm with sloppy security. Late nights, I'd volunteer for overtime, eyes scanning client files for familiar names. There was Midtown Motors, Dad's garage, listed as a vendor for some auto part scam. He'd been skimming from suppliers for years, pocketing the difference in cash deals. In my old life, I discovered it too late, after the feds raided and pinned it on me as the bookkeeper. I copied the files to a thumb drive, heart racing like I'd hot-wired a getaway car. Jax whistled when I showed him. This is dynamite, girl. You dropping it on him? Not yet. Timing was everything. Instead, I funneled the evidence to a PI I'd hired on the cheap, a grizzled ex-cop named Harlan who chain-smoked camels and asked zero questions for $500 retainers. Watch him, I told him. Every move. And dig into Lila. Harlan's first report landed in my inbox a week later. Photos of Dad at Belmont, slipping envelopes to attract tout. Lila at clubs in the meatpacking district, arm in arm with a silver-haired exec twice her age. Daddy's little networker, the note read. But the kicker? A bank statement showing transfers from that exec, Victor Hale, CEO of Hale Imports, to Lila's account. Not gifts. Payments. For introductions. My stomach churned. Lila wasn't just spending. She was selling. I paced the row house kitchen, Jax nursing a beer on the stoop. Family's fucked, he said, not unkindly. You sure you want to torch it all? I wasn't. But the memory of that cab, the metallic tang of blood and betrayal, drowned out the doubt. They torched me first, I muttered. Harlan's next package was thicker. Emails between Dad and Victor, bartering Lila like a poker chip for business favors. Keep the girl sweet, Dad had written. She'll keep the contracts flowing. My sister, the unwitting pawn. Or was she? The photos showed her laughing, not looking trapped. Fall leaves turned Philly's streets to rust as I plodded deeper. I'd saved $25,000 by then, invested in index funds and a cheap apartment in Baltimore, step 2 of vanishing. Jax threw a going-away shot. To second chances. I hugged him goodbye, the phoenix tattoo itching under my shirt. Baltimore was anonymity amplified, dockside warehouses, Ravens games blaring from every bar, a city that chewed up dreamers and spat out survivors. I enrolled in night classes at community college, business admin, the kind of shit I'd dropped out of before to pay bills. My new gig was at a logistics firm, crunching numbers for shipping routes. Boring? Hell yes. Profitable? In ways they never saw coming. I spotted patterns in the manifests. Hale imports routing knockoff luxury bags through Jersey ports, undercutting legit suppliers. Dad's garage was a drop point, unmarked crates funneled through his bays. I leaked manifests to customs brokers, anonymous emails from VPNs Jax had schooled me on. Raids followed. Headlines in the Inquirer about smuggling ring busted in tri-state area. Dad's name wasn't front page, but Harlan's updates confirmed the heat, cops crawling the shop, suppliers pulling contracts. Christmas came and went without a card from home. I spent it alone in a diner, picking at eggs over easy, scrolling Zillow for properties upstate. $50,000 in the bank now, crypto holdings ticking up on Bitcoin's bull run. I'd become a ghost investor, day trading on Robinhood between shifts, studying Buffett like scripture. Don't get emotional, I reminded myself. But emails from a burner account I'd set up for Harlan gnawed at me. Lila dropping out of Parsons, crashing at Victor's penthouse, Dad hawking tools from the garage to cover markers. By New Year's 2019, the first crack showed. A voice message slipped through an old number I'd forgotten to ditch. Dad, slurring, Selena, if you're out there. They took the shop. Lila's. She's gone, kid. Come home. I deleted it, but the pull was there, a siren's call to the girl I'd been. Instead, I doubled down. Harlan dug up the secret. Victor wasn't just a sugar daddy. He was Dad's silent partner in the scams, laundering cash through the garage for years. And Lila? She'd known. Emails proved it, her pitching opportunities to Victor, CCNG Dad. Rage boiled over one February night in Baltimore's Inner Harbor, wind whipping off the water as I stood on the promenade, phone in hand. I forwarded the lot to a reporter at The Sun, tips on corruption, with Hale's name in lights. The story broke a month later. Philly exec tied to smuggling scandal. Victor's face on every newsstand, Dad's garage shuttered under FBI tape. Harlan's final report, Dad in a holding cell on fraud charges, Lila ghosting Victor's circle, last seen wiring money to an offshore account. I should have felt victory. Instead, a hollow ache settled in. $100,000 liquid now. A co-op in D.C. lined up, step 3, climbing the ladder. But dreams haunted me, Mom's lullabies, Lila's gap-toothed grin at 8, Dad's calloused hands fixing my bike. They made their bed, I told the mirror. Yet as spring thawed the Patapsco, I wondered if mine was big enough for 3. D.C. was a viper's nest disguised as marble monuments, where power suits hustled past cherry blossoms like they own the tide. I arrived in April 2019 with a U-Haul trailer hitched to a used Civic I'd bought cash in Baltimore, no plates traced to Selena Kowalski. The co-op in DuPont Circle was a steal, exposed brick, bay windows overlooking embassies, $800 a month on a sublet from a diplomat's aide who'd ghosted for a posting in Berlin. I unpacked methodically, books on forensic accounting, a yoga mat for the tension knots in my neck, that thumb drive of sins tucked in a wall safe. My interview at Potomac Analytics was a cakewalk. Selena Voss, I said, extending a hand polished with neutral gloss. The HR drone blinked at my resume, Philly temp work padded with online certs in Excel and QuickBooks, references from Jax's burner emails. You're overqualified for entry-level, she said. I smiled, the kind that didn't reach my eyes. Just looking to build from the ground up. Ground up. Ironic, considering I was rebuilding on the bones of the dead. Potomac was a cog in DC's machine, auditing federal contracts for waste, fraud, abuse, the holy trinity of bureaucratic sin. My cubicle overlooked the Potomac, a ribbon of brown water, snaking toward forgotten scandals. Days blurred into spreadsheets, chasing ghost payments in defense budgets. Nights? Networking mixers at Georgetown bars, where think tank wonks swapped business cards like currency. I played the part. Quiet ambition, single girl with a dry wit, dodging questions about back home, with deflections about Philly traffic. Harlan's updates came quarterly now, a drip feed of downfall. Dad out on bail, living in a studio above a laundromat in Bay Ridge, irony's encore. The garage auctioned off for pennies, his life's work scattered to collectors who prized rusty Chevys over family loyalty. Lila? She'd surfaced in Miami, waitressing at a South Beach spot, but whispers from Harlan's contacts painted her unraveling, bad dye jobs, track marks on her arms, crashing with influencers who ghosted at dawn.
Victor Hale?
Indicted, assets frozen, his penthouse a revolving door for lawyers in $1,000 loafers. I didn't gloat, not out loud, but in the quiet of my co-op, wine glass in hand, I'd scroll the clips. Dad's mugshot, hollow-cheeked and haunted, Lila's grainy Instagram, filters cracking under desperation. This is justice, I'd whisper to the Phoenix tattoo, now faded to a whisper of ink. Yet justice tasted like ash. At work, I funneled intel subtly, flagging hail shell companies in our audits, ensuring the feds peeled back layers like an onion of deceit. My boss, a silver fox named Elena, noticed. Voss, you're a bloodhound. Ever think grad school? Georgetown's got programs. Georgetown. The word hung like a dare. In my old life, I dreamed of it. Night studying by flashlight when power got cut, applications gathering dust under Dad's beer cans.
Now?
I enrolled part-time, fall semester, balancing classes in corporate ethics with Potomac's grind. Ethics. The irony burned brighter than a subpoena. Professors droned about fiduciary duty, case studies on Enron's fall, while I doodled payback scenarios in the margins, exposing Dad's old poker buddies, bankrupting the bookies who'd hounded me to the grave. Summer 2020 hit with COVID's shadow, DC locking down like a vault. Potomac went remote. I traded the cubicle for a desk by the window, Zoom calls blurring into isolation. Protests raged outside, BLM marches snaking past the White House, sirens wailing like banshees. I marched once, sign in hand, the crowd's roar a catharsis for buried screams. They betrayed me. Society betrays the little guy. But in the throng, a face flashed. Lila, on a grainy news clip from a Miami rally, fist raised, eyes wild. Had she changed? Or was it just another performance? Harlan retired that year, cashing his last check with a gruff, "You're on your own, kid. This rabbit hole's too deep." His final dossier was a gut punch. Dad diagnosed with early-onset Parkinson's, tremors turning wrenches to liabilities. Lila pregnant, father unknown, crashing in a women's shelter after a OD scare. I stared at the photos, Dad's gnarled hands, one steady on a carburetor, Lila's swollen belly under a threadbare tee. Karma's a slow blade, I thought, but the cut felt self-inflicted. By 2021, vaccines rolled out, and so did opportunity. Potomac promoted me to junior analyst, salary bumping to $75,000. I bought a one-bedroom in Adams Morgan, salsa beats thumping from Ticarius below, a balcony for morning coffees overlooking the city's pulse. Dating apps flickered on my phone, matches with lobbyists who name-drop senators, tech bros with crypto dreams. I swiped left on most, right on Marcus, a history prof at Howard, all easy smiles and locks down his back. Our first date was Ethiopian injera and debates on reparations. Second was my place, his hands gentle on the tattoo. Phoenix, huh? What's the story? I traced the wings. Burned once. Won't again. Marcus became a fixture. Lazy Sundays decoding the post's crosswords, his laugh chasing shadows from my edges. But trust? That was a bridge half-burned. I kept the past vaulted, Selena Voss the enigma. Work consumed the rest, diving into a contract audit for urban development grants, sniffing irregularities in Brooklyn revitalization funds. Brooklyn. My old zip code, now a ghost town in my mind. The trail led to a nonprofit, Kowalski Community Auto Repair. Dad's Hail Mary, rebranded post-scandal, begging grants for underprivileged youth training. I laughed, bitter and sharp, as Elena greenlit the deep dive. Voss, take point. Something smells off. Off. It reeked of desperation. Weeks of FOIAs and subpoenas unearthed the rot. Dad funneling grants to cronies, training sessions that were poker nights in disguise. Lila listed as program coordinator, ironic, since she'd never turned a wrench. I drafted the report in a fever, footnotes laced with venom, misappropriation of funds, conflict of interest, fraud indicators. Elena's eyes widened at the prelim. This could go federal. You okay pushing it? Push. I'd shove it down their throats. The DOJ swooped in autumn, raids hitting the nonprofit like thunder. News alerts ping my phone. Brooklyn auto grant scandal rocks nonprofits. Dad's face again, older, frilier, no comment from his public defender. Lila? Vanished mid-pregnancy, welfare checks bouncing. Marcus found me on the balcony that night, rain sheeting the glass. You look like you won the lottery and lost the ticket. I leaned into him, the truth a lump in my throat. Family stuff. Old wounds. He didn't pry, just held me through the storm. But cracks formed. DC's churn demanded facades. Mine was thinning. Winter brought holidays, Marcus's family gatherings in Silver Spring, soul food spreads, aunties grilling me on prospects. I dodged with charm, but Lila's ghost lingered. A baby now, if she'd carried to term. Harlan's replacement, a PI kid named Rico, texted sporadically. Subject L spotted in Atlantic City, dancing at a club. Subject D in assisted living, Medicaid only. Assisted living. The man who demanded my soul for Lila's whims, now drooling over Jell-O. 2022 dawned with ambition's fire. Georgetown masters in sight, Potomac floating a senior role. I networked at CFR events, rubbing elbows with wonks who shaped policy. One mixer, a tip from a tipsy aide, hail out on appeal, whispering to senators about witch hunts. My blood iced. Victor slithering back. Rico tailed him to a steakhouse in Georgetown. Dad there too, wheelchair-bound, cutting a deal for drop charges. Son of a bitch. Betrayal's echo. Round 2. I pulled strings, anonymous to the post, doxed to Elena's DOJ contacts. The appeal crumbled. Hail back in cuffs, Dad's testimony exposed as perjury. Headlines screamed, fraudster father implicates self in smuggling retry. He rolled over on Victor for a plea, but the judge threw the book. 5 years, no parole. Lila resurfaced in the fallout, testifying against both. My dad made me do it, the quotes read. I was just a kid.
Kid?
At 22? The press ate it up, America's darling victim. Marcus proposed that spring, rings simple silver on the cherry esplanade. Build a life with me, Selena. I said yes, tears blurring the monuments, but the phoenix burned hotter. Victory? Or just the prelude? As summer hummed, Rico's last ping. L in witness protection, Jersey Burbs. New name, new start. Baby's a boy, named after you. Selena. My name, twisted into her redemption. I deleted the thread. Heart a war drum. DC's lights twinkled below, a city of secrets.
But mine?
Still buried, waiting for the final strike. Marriage anchored me like ballast in DC's storm, Marcus's steadiness a counterweight to the chaos I'd sown. We wed in a backyard ceremony that fall of 2022, his Howard crew in Kent ties, my Potomac pals toasting with view. I wore ivory lace from a foggy bottom boutique, the phoenix hidden under sleeves, vowing, in sickness and health, with a smile that masked the ledger in my chest. Honeymoon in Asheville. Blue Ridge hikes, his hand in mine, whispers of starting a family. 2 Sealans running around? Chaos, he'd joke. I'd laugh, but the thought curdled. Bloodlines tainted, cycles unbroken. Back in the grind, senior analyst meant bigger fish. A task force on opioid diversion, tracing pills from big pharma to street corners. It hit close, Dad's poker losses half-fueled by oxyscripts from bent docs. I buried myself in data, raids netting distributors who'd supplied the sharks who'd hounded me. Elena patted my back at the wrap party. Voss Harris, you're a force. Director material. Harris, Marcus's name, my now in hyphenated ink. It fit, a fresh skin over old scars. But 2023 brought ghosts rattling chains. A call from Rico unprompted. Your pops is out early. Good behavior. Compassionate release. Parkinson's advanced. He's looking for you. Looking. The word slithered. Dad, shuffling from Sing Sing to a halfway house in the Bronx, Medicaid wheelchair and all. News clips showed him gaunt, mumbling to reporters. Just want to see my girls. Make it right. Make it right. As if debts erased with a deathbed sorry. Marcus noticed the silences. Spill, love. That phoenix ain't rising if you're chained. Over takeout pad thai, I cracked bits, not all. The garage, the debts, the disappearance. Family imploded. I walked. His eyes softened, no judgment. And the rebirth? I traced his palm. Every day. He pulled me close, but sleep evaded, dreams of cab crashes and pawned guns. Lila's trail heated up too. Witness protection cracked under her itch. Rico's contacts spotted her in Newark, waitressing as Elena Torres, toddler in tow. The boy, dark curls, hazel eyes like mine, named Cell, short for Celine, but close enough to mock. She dyed her hair platinum, tattoos snaking arms once bare, hustling tips from truckers with a smile that screamed survival. Articles painted her as reformed, survivor's tale, from smuggling scandal to single mom strength. Bullshit. A deep dive via Potomac's databases showed bounce checks, evictions, a protection order against an ex, Victor's nephew, sniffing for loose ends. Controversy brewed when Dad's release hit tabloids. A Fox affiliate ran a sob story. Fallen father seeks absolution. Viewers flooded advice columns. Forgive and forget. Blood is thicker. Marcus rolled his eyes at the TV. America loves a redemption arc. Even for assholes. But the pull tugged. Justice half served. Loose threads fraying my peace. I hired Rico full-time. $2,000 monthly for surveillance. Eyes only, I stipulated. No contact. Summer sweltered. DC's humidity a sauna for secrets. At a rooftop gala for the Urban Institute, champagne flute in hand, I overheard whispers. Hale's appeal hearing next month. Witnesses flipping like pancakes. Lila's name surfaced, subpoenaed, her protection in jeopardy. Panic spiked. If she cracked under cross, threads unraveled back to me. I slipped away, texting Rico. Shadow her court date. Ensure silence. His reply. Gray area, boss. You sure?
Gray?
My whole life was graphite. The hearing was in federal court, Foley Square. Ironic, steps from my old Brooklyn life. I flew up incognito. Ball cap, oversized shades, economy seat wedged between snoring salesmen. Outside, protesters picketed Big Pharma, signs blurring in the drizzle. Inside, the gallery hummed, suits, stenographers, Hale's trophy wife dabbing tears. Dad wheeled in, oxygen mask fogging, eyes scanning like a cornered rat. Then Lila, Elena, on the stand, boy on a sitter's lap in the hall, her voice steady. Mr. Hale coerced me. My father. He was in deep. Cross-exam shredded her. Inconsistencies, old emails surfacing like landmines. You profited, Miss Torres, the lawyer sneered. Book and bags don't buy themselves. She crumbled, tears streaking makeup, the boy's wail piercing from outside. Hale's team pounced, painting her the gold digger, Dad the puppet master. Verdict, appeal granted, mistrial on technicals. Hale walked, smirking past the press. I tailed her from the courthouse, heart a jackhammer. She bundled the boy into a yellow cab, my trigger, heading to a Jersey diner. I followed in a rental, pulse thundering. Parked across the lot, I watched her slide into a booth, ordering grilled cheese for Cell, coffee black for her frayed nerves. She looked smaller, lines etching youth away. Monster, I thought. Victim. The lines blurred. Dad's next move was bolder. A letter forwarded via Rico, scrawled in shaky script. Selena, my girl. I know I failed you. Lila too. But this sickness. It's eating me.
Come see your old man.
One last time. Enclosed, a photo. Us at Coney Island, cotton candy stickiness and sunburn grins. I burned it in the sink, flames licking the drain. But the ash clung. Fall leaves turned blood red as decisions loomed. Marcus and I house hunted in Tacoma Park, Victorians with yards for hypothetical kids, schools ranked top tier. Roots, he said, measuring counter space. Roots. I'd hacked mine out years ago. Elena dangled the director's spot. $150,000 corner office. But promotion meant scrutiny, background checks brushing old ghosts. November brought the twist. Rico's panicked call. Boss, complication. Hale's digging, hired PIs, sniffing your DC trail. Thinks you leaked the manifests.
Me.
The vanished sister, the audit whiz. Paranoia? Or pattern recognition? I paced our temp rental, Marcus at a conference. Options. Rico. Disappear again. Or confront. Confront. The word ignited. I flew to Newark unannounced, burner phone ditched, rental car anonymous. Lila's apartment was a walk-up over a bodega, peeling paint, fire escape sagging. I buzzed at dusk, her voice crackling. Who? Someone who knows Victor. The door cracked, chain taut, her eyes widening. Selena? Holy shit. Inside smelled of formula and regret. Toys scattered, eviction notice pinned to the fridge. Cell toddled over, chubby hands grabbing my jeans. Auntie. My throat closed. Lila collapsed on the couch, lighting a menthol. How? I cut her off. Hale's coming. For all of us. She exhaled smoke, story spilling. The coercion, the debts, Dad's grooming. He said it was temporary. Keep the lights on. Temporary. Like my life. We talked till midnight. Confessions raw. No sugar. She wasn't innocent, but neither was I blameless in the old script. I named him after you, she whispered, nodding at the sleeping boy. Strength.
Strength.
The phoenix stirred. Dad's halfway house was next, Bronx concrete under sodium lights. I wheeled him to the garden, autumn chill biting. His eyes lit, frail hand clutching mine. My Selena. Tears tracked his cheeks. Forgive. The word hung. Betrayal's ledger. Debts paid in blood, secrets unearthed. I squeezed. Not yet. But maybe. Back in DC, Marcus waited, arms open. Wherever you go, I'm there. The director nod came. Hale's probe fizzled. My leak's too old. Trail's cold. But the real climax brewed. A class action suit against Hale. Lila as lead plaintiff. Me ghostwriting affidavits through back channels. As 2023 closed, snow dusting the monuments, I stood on our new porch, Cell's photo in my wallet, a nephew, not a weapon. Revenge? Served cold, but thawing. The cab's echo faded, replaced by Marcus's snore, the city's hum. One life down, this one mind to rewrite. Yet in the quiet, doubt whispered, did you win, or just survive? 2024 unfolded like a thriller's final act, twists piling like DC snowdrifts. The class action ballooned, Lila's testimony rocket fuel, drawing whistleblowers from Hale's empire, execs with guilty ledgers, suppliers with cold feet. I consulted off-books, Potomac's resources a shadow army, drafting motions that gutted Hale's defenses. Elena raised an eyebrow at my pro bono passion, but the wind stacked, settlements trickling to victims, Lila's cut earmarking a trust for Cell, $200K, clean start in Portland. Dad's decline accelerated, Parkinson's a thief stealing syllables. Weekly calls from the Bronx, ramblings on carburetors, apologies laced with morphine haze. Should have been better, kid.
For you.
I visited once a month, Marcus in tow, his patience a bomb. Dad's eyes sharpened on the ring. Husband material. Laughter cracked his voice, rare and rusted. Forgiveness? Incremental, like interest on a long bond. We talked Mom, Coney ghosts, the debts he'd drown in if reborn. Wouldn't change, he admitted once, eyes distant. Weakness runs deep. Honesty's razor, slicing illusions. Lila relocated springtime, U-Haul echoing my escape. Portland's fog suited her, craft breweries, food carts, a preschool for Cell with ocean views. Video chats became ritual, her unpacking boxes, boy waving sticky fingers. Aunt Selena. The title stuck, a bridge over chasms. She aced community college, paralegal track, your influence, she'd say. Bullshit. It was hers, reclaimed. But Hale loomed, a hydra. Summer leaks, his shell in the Caymans funneling remnants, targeting plaintiffs. Lila first, harassment calls, slashed tires outside her duplex. Then Dad. Anonymous threats scrawled on his door. Snitches rot. Rico ramp surveillance, but I went nuclear. A dossier to the Southern District, tracing every wire. DOJ bid, indicting Hale on Rico. Racketeering symphony, his empire's swan song. The trial was spectacle. Manhattan courtroom, cameras flashing like paparazzi frenzy. I testified as consultant expert, voice steady under lights. The funds were diverted systematically, Mr. Hale's signatures on every fraud. His glare across the bar, venomous, impotent. Lila followed, poised in pencil skirt. He broke us. But we broke free. Dad watched from home, live stream buffering on a borrowed tablet. Verdict, guilty, 25 to life. Hale's empire crumbled, assets liquidated, millions to the fund, Lila's share buying a craftsman bungalow. Fall brought harvest. My directorship official, Georgetown diploma framed beside Marcus's tenure letter. We announced the pregnancy at Thanksgiving. His folks' Silver Spring spread, turkey and yams, aunties cooing over sonograms. A girl, the tech said. Selena Marie Harris. Full circle or fresh page. But controversy crested like a rogue wave. A post-expose dropped pre-holidays. The Kowalski sisters, from scandal to saviors? Digging my vanishing, the leaks, framing me the mastermind. Vengeful ghost or justice warrior. Comment sections erupted. Family destroyer. Heroine. Marcus fielded calls. Elena toasted my media savvy. I scrolled numb, the phoenix itching. Truth?
Both.
Neither. Dad passed New Year's Eve, quiet in his sleep, halfway house hospice. Monitors beeping fade out. Lila and I flew in, burying him beside Mom in Greenwood. Gray December, wreaths wilting. At the grave, she gripped my hand. He loved us. In his way. I nodded, throat tight. Eulogy short. Flawed man. Flawed father. Rest now. No tears for the grave, but for the girl I'd been, yes. Spring 2025 bloomed with new rhythms. Maternity leave looming. Lila visiting for baby showers, Cell chasing our dachshund puppy, stories of Portland rains. Marcus built the crib, humming Motown, while I archived the files. Thumb drives to a safe deposit box. Rico's contract canceled. Loose ends? Tied mostly. Hale's appeals dragged, but ironclad. The birth was chaos. July heatwave, labor in GW hospital. Marcus white-knuckled in the hall. She came screaming, 6 pounds, tuft of dark hair, eyes cracking open to hazel. Selena Marie, holding her, swaddled and squirming. The cab's blood washed away. This is the twist, I thought. Not destruction, but creation. Revenge's endgame. Not ashes, but roots. Yet in quiet feeds, shadows lingered. A final rico pingo, gratis. Ale suicide watch. Lila's engaged, barista with a food truck dream. I smiled, deleting. Portland wedding invite en route. Cell as ring bearer. We'd go. All of us. Sisters, aunt-nephew. The Harris clan expanding. DC's monuments gleamed eternal. But my story? Written in margins. Footnotes of fury turned footnotes of family. The girl who died in a cab? Buried deep. This Selena breathed free, contentious, complicated, alive. And, if echoes whispered what if, I'd hush them with lullabies, the only debt left. Love. Paid forward. As summer waned, balcony sunset painting the skyline gold, Marcus grilled ribs while little Cell cooed in her carrier. Lila texted, "Proud of you, sis." We made it. I typed back. We did. The phoenix? Faded to memory. Wings folded in peace. Or so I told myself. In America's grind, debts, betrayals, rebirths, peace was the ultimate controversy. Undeserved, unapologetic, utterly mine.